They invaded our world, burned our cities, and called us weak. But now, one of their royal war queens landed alone and said something that changed everything. Not a threat, not a warning, but a question. What do I have to do to marry you, human? Why him? Why us? And what happens when a warrior princess falls for the very species her people tried to destroy? You think this is about love? No. This is about something far more dangerous. And it starts right here. Welcome to a brand new story in the world of humanity, yeah. My name is Michael, and I'm the voiceover artist for this channel. Let's dive in. She was beautiful, deadly, and not from Earth. And today, she landed in the middle of a junkyard. Just to ask a human one question. What do I have to do to marry you? Not for peace, not for war, but something worse. Obsession. And what happens when an alien warrior wants what she can't have? You're about to find out. Because this story isn't about a wedding. It's about a test, a trap, and maybe the end of both species. Her ship came down in fire and smoke. Not with missiles, but silence. Ethan watched from behind a stack of broken generators. He didn't run. He didn't scream. He just stared. Because nothing this smooth had landed in the waste zones for years. The sky was still smoky from the last orbital blast. Earth wasn't healing, just surviving. And in the middle of all that ruin, she stepped out. Tall, red-skinned, silver-armored. Her white braids shimmered like threads of moonlight. And her eyes, glowing like twin suns. She didn't look at the sky. She didn't scan the area. She walked straight toward him. Ethan backed up, hand on his rusted plasma tool. Identify yourself, he said, voice dry. The alien tilted her head. She smiled. A real smile. Soft. Curious. Not cruel. I am Zavala of the Crimson Crown, she said. And I have chosen you. Ethan blinked. Chosen me for what? She took one more step. Close now. Too close. For marriage. He laughed. A real, dry, human laugh. This had to be a joke. The same aliens who bombed New Paris, who enslaved half of Mars, now wanted a husband? And him? He was just a fixer. A junk tech. Sleeping inside broken cargo bays. Eating fungus chips. Zavala looked around. Broken satellite dishes. Scattered ship bones. Old war signs. This place, she said, is honest. Her gaze landed back on him. You survived here. That makes you strong. Ethan narrowed his eyes. Your people tried to kill mine. She nodded. Yes. We lost more than we won. That's why I'm here. She knelt in front of him, armor scraping metal. No fear. No shield. There is a ritual. If I win a mate from Earth, I can stop the bloodline purge. I can change things. He didn't answer. She leaned in closer. What do I have to do to marry you, human? Ethan stared. Was this real? He'd seen drones trick men before. Lure them in. Scan their thoughts. But this felt different. Her voice was warm. Her breath was real. Her armor, damaged at the side. She'd come alone. No guards. No army. He stood slowly. You want me to believe this is about love? Her smile faded. No. It's about need. And survival. But maybe, love can come later. He crossed his arms. And if I say no? She didn't blink. Then I leave. And someone else comes. Not with offers. With orders. Ethan looked at the scorched horizon. A buzz of broken towers, blinking in the heat. Humanity was out of time. He sighed. What's the catch? Her eyes glowed again. There are 3 tests. Ancient trials. I must complete them, and so must you. Tests for what? To prove we are a match. Body, mind, and truth. Ethan exhaled hard. A few days ago, he was fixing heat fans. Now he was the center of a galactic mating ritual. Perfect. But something deep inside him, curled with curiosity, not just about the alien, but about why, of all the humans left on Earth, she had come to him. He looked up, eyes hard. "Fine. But I do this my way." She nodded. "Then we begin, now." The sun was already falling behind the broken towers. Long shadows crawled across the scraplands. The wind smelled like rust and ozone. Zavala stood tall beside Ethan, staring at the horizon. He still didn't trust her, but something told him she wasn't lying. "Not completely. You said 3 tests," Ethan muttered. "What's the first one?" She turned to him, eyes calm, serious. "The trial of body," she said. "Strength. Survival. Endurance. You must last a full cycle in the wildlands. Alone." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "I've been surviving here for years." She shook her head slowly. "Not here. There." She pointed west, past the blackened hill line, toward the sky where lightning kissed the ground. "The shattered zone," Ethan whispered. He had only heard stories. A land cursed by plasma storms. Old weapons still alive, crawling in the dark. No one went there. No one came back. Zavala touched her wrist console. A blue shimmer wrapped around a small metal disc. She handed it to him. "Tracker. If you try to run, I'll know." He took it, cold and heavy in his palm. "And what if you're lying? What if this is just a way to get rid of me?" She stepped closer. Very close. Her hand touched his chest. Not hard. Not soft. Just firm. Her voice dropped low, almost a whisper. "If I wanted you gone, you'd already be ashes." Ethan swallowed. He didn't like being threatened. But it didn't feel like a threat. More like a reminder that she was still a weapon, and choosing not to use it. "Fine," he said. "I go into the shattered zone. I survive. Then what?" "Then you pass the first test," she said. "And I show you the second." She turned to walk away, but then paused. "Oh, and one more thing." She opened her palm. A glowing orb floated above her hand. "There are other suitors, from my kind. If they find you in the zone, they are allowed to kill you." Ethan froze. "You're sending others?" "No," she said softly. "They're already there." Before he could answer, her ship hummed behind her. Wings folded out like knives. And she was gone. The next morning, Ethan entered the shattered zone. It didn't look like a wasteland. It looked like hell. The ground cracked beneath every step. Purple vines crawled up dead vehicles. The sky roared with strange lightning, always just behind the clouds. And something, somewhere, kept clicking. Not bugs. Not machines. Something worse. Ethan kept his eyes sharp. He had a knife, a water pack, and the glowing orb she gave him. She said it would help him see through shadows. He didn't know what that meant yet. Hours passed. Then night came. Faster than it should have. The cold dropped hard. No fires allowed, light meant death. He built a shelter using half a broken drone and tarp string. It wasn't smart. It wasn't safe. But it held. Then, at midnight, he heard it. Voices. Not human. Not hers. Something moved across the hill, slow and tall. 2 shadows. Both glowing, not from armor, but from under their skin. Alien warriors. "One of them is mine," one hissed. "The girl has lost her mind." "He's weak. Just a scrap picker. This won't take long." Ethan crouched low, heartbeat sharp. He didn't have weapons. Didn't have speed. But he had tricks. And time. He pulled 2 mirror shards from his boot, old tech. He set them on the ground facing the path. When the aliens came close, flash! The reflection of the orb's light struck their eyes. Just a second of blind confusion. But enough. Ethan ran. Not away, but up. He climbed an old power tower, half broken, humming with old charge. The aliens followed. Big mistake. Ethan grabbed a loose coil, wrapped it fast, and yanked the broken fuse. Boom! Electric storm. Sparks flew. The metal screamed. 1 alien fell. The other howled, stunned. Ethan dropped from the tower, rolled hard, and vanished into the dark. By dawn, he crawled back to the border of the shattered zone. Bruised, burned, but alive. Zavala was waiting, leaning on a rock, arms crossed. "You made it," she said. "No backup, no help, just you." He dropped the tracker disc at her feet. "And 2 dead warriors behind me." She smiled. "Not wide, just enough. Then you pass." They walked in silence. Zavala led the way. Her ship was gone. No guards, no drones, just the 2 of them walking through the dust. Ethan's arm was bruised. His ribs hurt with every step. But he didn't complain. He had passed the first test. Now it was time for the second. He spoke first. "You said 3 tests. What's the next one?" She didn't look at him. "The trial of mind." He rolled his eyes. "Great. Puzzles. I'm not a scientist." "You don't need to be," she said. "You just need to survive your own thoughts." They reached a black door standing alone in the middle of the wasteland. No building, no walls, just the door, shimmering like glass in sunlight. Ethan frowned. "There's nothing here." She didn't answer. She pressed her palm to the door. The light blinked once. Then it opened. Inside, darkness. He stepped in, and the door slammed shut behind him. No sound, no wind. He tried to call out, "Zavala!" Nothing. Then, the floor glowed blue, and the room changed. He was standing in a city, New York, before the war. People walked past him, laughing, shouting, alive. He stood in the middle of a street he hadn't seen in 10 years. His old apartment was across the road. His mother's voice echoed behind him. "Ethan, you forgot your tools again." He turned. She was there. Not old, not sick, healthy, alive, smiling. "Come on," she said. "We're going to miss the sunset." Ethan froze. This wasn't real. Couldn't be. She died when the capital was attacked. He stepped back. The world shimmered. The people stopped moving, like statues. Then a new voice spoke. Cold, mechanical. "This is your mind, your past, your guilt. To pass this trial, you must face what controls you." Ethan's chest tightened. "Show me something else," he whispered. The world shifted again. Now he was in a lab, wearing a uniform. Younger, angry. Soldiers stood behind glass. Aliens, trapped. Screaming. A younger Ethan pressed buttons. Launched gas. Watched them suffer. "I didn't do that," he growled. But the machine voice replied. "Yes, you did. You built the control system, even if you didn't use it." Ethan fell to his knees. "That wasn't my choice. But you stayed silent." Suddenly, all the lights shut off. Everything went black. Then a spotlight. One figure. Alone. Zavala. Bleeding. Chained. Staring at him. "Would you have spoken if it was me?" she asked. Ethan clenched his fists. "This isn't fair." "Neither is war," said the voice. The room spun again. He was falling. Floating through stars. Memories, voices, images flashing. He couldn't breathe. He wanted out. But there was no door this time. Only the question. What controls you more, shame or fear? His heart pounded. "Neither," he shouted. The voice paused. "Then show us." Ethan stood, lifted his chin, and walked forward. The world tried to shift again. But this time, he refused. He ignored the screams, the shadows, the fake memories, and kept walking. Suddenly, silence, and the door returned. He pushed it open, and sunlight hit his face. He was outside. Zavala was waiting. Alone. Quiet. She looked him over once. "You passed." He didn't speak. Just dropped to the ground, and breathed. She sat beside him. No armor today. Just a simple dark suit. Her hair tied back. "Most don't make it through the labyrinth," she said. He glanced sideways. And if I failed? Your mind would break. You'd never come back. He nodded slowly. That would have been easier. She smiled faintly. But not human. They sat for a long time. The wind moved gently now. Not like before. Ethan spoke quietly. Those images, were they real? Or just tricks? Zavala turned her head. They were your thoughts. Nothing more. He frowned. And the part where you were in chains? She looked at him. Expression unreadable. Maybe that was mine. They traveled again. Not by ship. Not by road. Just walking. Through broken valleys, silent forests, shattered cities. Each place carried ghosts. And Zavala didn't speak much. Not anymore. Ethan felt something had changed. Since the mind labyrinth. She looked at him differently. Not like prey. Not like a target. Like something she couldn't explain. They stopped by a rusted water station near the hills. Zavala sat on a crate, sharpening a strange blade, curved, dark, and humming with red light. Ethan watched her. What's the third test? He asked. She didn't answer right away. Instead, she stood and walked over. Her blade vanished into her armor. And she sat beside him. Very close. Then, the trial of truth, she said. He raised an eyebrow. Truth about what? Bloodlines. Memory. Heart. The truth we don't say, even to ourselves. Ethan frowned. More illusions? She shook her head. No illusions. No tricks. You stand. I ask. You answer. That's all. He thought for a moment. Sounds too easy. She looked him dead in the eyes. It's the hardest one. That night, they sat by a small fire, low flame, barely warm. The stars above them were dim. Some no longer existed. Just light left behind. Like ghosts. Zavala stood. Her voice was deeper now. Calm. Serious. Ethan Cade. Human born. Junk world survivor. Trial winner. Answer now. With no lies. Or the test ends. He nodded once. She took a breath. Do you believe humans are better than my kind? He blinked. Did she want flattery? Surrender? He shook his head. No. I think we're worse and better. At the same time. She stepped closer. Then why did we lose the war? He looked down. Because we stopped being afraid. And started being clever. A pause. She circled him now, slow like a hunter. Would you kill me if Earth asked? He looked up sharply. No. Not anymore. Why? Because I see you now. Not just your armor. Another pause. Then her voice dropped lower. Do you want me? He stiffened. The question hit deeper than the others. Her eyes glowed. But softer than before. He exhaled. Yes. She stopped walking. Stood still. Her voice was almost a whisper. Why? He looked at her, really looked. The warrior. The leader. The alien. But also, the girl who bled. Who waited. Who asked, not demanded. And who chose him. Not for politics. Not for gain. For something else. Because, he said quietly, you scare me, but you don't lie. And even when you could crush me, you never did. Her breath caught. For the first time, she looked uncertain. Like she was afraid now. She stepped closer. And slowly, opened a hidden slot on her armor. A small cylinder rose from her chest plate. Glowing blue. Cracked with lines of red. This is the reason I came here. She handed it to him. It's called a soul beacon. It only activates when we find genetic match. Ethan froze. You mean, like a soulmate? Worse, she said. It means one thing. If I don't bond with you, I die. The words hit like stone. She looked away. I didn't know it would be you. I thought it was broken. Just old tech. But when I came near your city, it lit up. And I changed. He stared at the device. It pulsed like a heartbeat. His heart beat. "Why me?" he whispered. She answered without looking. "Because your blood carries something ancient. Something that matches ours. You are not fully human." Silence. The fire crackled. The stars kept shining. And Ethan felt the ground beneath him shift. He wasn't just part of Earth's scrap. He was part of something else. Something hidden. Something powerful. Something forgotten by time. She stepped closer. Very close now. Her hand touched his. The beacon glowed harder. "Now the question is, will you choose me back?" Ethan didn't speak. He stared at the glowing beacon in his palm. Still warm from her skin. Still pulsing like it had a mind of its own. His whole life, he thought he was just another human. Just another body surviving a broken world. Now, he was something more. Or maybe, something worse. Across from him, Zavala stood still. No weapons raised. No walls between them. Just silence. And waiting. Ethan finally asked, voice low. "You're telling me, my blood could keep you alive?" She nodded. "It's not just blood. It's bond. Connection. Our ancestors used it to survive wars long before space travel. It chose you." He looked up sharply. "Then why lie? Why call this a marriage test?" She didn't flinch. "Because if I told you the truth from the start, you would have run. And I needed you to stay." Ethan didn't answer. He looked at the beacon again. One word echoed in his head. Match. Before he could speak again, a sound hit the air. A shriek. Sharp. Metallic. Full of hate. Zavala spun instantly, drawing her blade. Ethan stood too, pulse racing. Something was coming. And fast. From the sky, a ship dropped. Smaller than hers. Black as space. Cracked with red lightning. It landed hard, shaking the ground. Dust exploded around it. And when it cleared, two figures walked out. The first, tall, gold-plated, sharp like a knife. A crown of bone wrapped around his head. Eyes glowing green with rage. The second, a shadow, floating beside him like smoke. Both alien. Both powerful. Both royalty. Zavala's breath caught. Her blade stayed raised. "My brother," she said. Ethan didn't move. "Your brother?" "High Prince Korzeth. He found us." The Golden Warrior stepped forward. His voice echoed with command. "You broke the oath, sister. You bonded with a human." Zavala stepped in front of Ethan. "He is my match. Chosen by the beacon." "Then the beacon is flawed." Korzeth roared. The second figure floated closer now. Its shape twisted and unnatural. Korzeth nodded toward it. "This is Nytich. The Mind Eater. My bond. He has no bloodline, but he has power." Ethan whispered, "What is that thing?" Zavala's voice turned cold. "A dark choice. An outlawed bond, made from stolen minds." Korzeth raised his hand. "Give me the beacon. Break the bond. Return to your place. Or I destroy you both." Ethan stepped forward, heart racing. He felt heat in his veins. The beacon was glowing stronger now. Brighter than before. Almost alive. It wanted to fight. "I'm not giving you anything," Ethan said. Korzeth's eyes narrowed. "You dare speak to me, creature?" Ethan held the beacon tighter. "I've survived worse than you." Korzeth raised his hand to strike. But Zavala moved first. Fast. Her blade met his. Steel cracked the air. Light flashed. And war began again. The fight was brutal. Zavala was skilled, fast, graceful, deadly. But Korzeth was stronger. He pushed her back, blow after blow. Nytich floated toward Ethan. Its whispers crawled inside his ears. "You are nothing, you are dust, give me the heart." Ethan stumbled, vision shaking. His thoughts weren't safe. Then, the beacon pulsed. Bright. Like a star. And suddenly, the whispers stopped. Nytich screamed and burned. Ethan stood tall. His blood was glowing now, veins lit like fire. The beacon was inside him. Awake. He ran to Zavala's side. She was bleeding. Korzeth raised his sword for the final strike. Ethan didn't think. He raised his hand. And the beacon exploded. A shockwave burst through the hills. Korzeth was thrown back. NYTH vanished into dust. Silence followed. The sky calmed. And Zavala gasped for breath. Ethan caught her. Held her up. "You still alive?" he asked. She smiled, bloody. More than ever. Korzeth lay broken near the edge of the crater. He didn't rise again. Ethan turned to her. "You lied to me. But you still saved me. And you still chose me, even after knowing the truth." He looked at the fire in his hand. The light was fading. But the bond was not. "I guess we're even now," he said. She leaned her head against his. "No. Now we're just getting started." The crater still smoked. Korzeth's ship had melted into twisted metal. NYTH was gone, burned into the wind. And Ethan sat in the center of it all. Quiet, heart still racing. Zavala leaned against a rock nearby, wrapping cloth around her shoulder. She bled slowly, but smiled through it. "You held the beacon," she said. "And it didn't kill you." Ethan stared at his palm. The glow was gone. But he could still feel it. Like it had moved, deeper. He looked at her. "Why didn't you tell me everything from the start?" She lowered her eyes. "Because I didn't know if you'd want to help me, or just save yourself. And because..." She paused, breathing slow. "I wasn't ready to care." Before he could respond, a sharp sound filled the air. Not alien. Not her tech. This one was human. A loudspeaker crackled across the wasteland. "Ethan Cade. This is Command Echo 3. Step away from the alien." He turned. A dark gray hovercraft descended through the clouds. Earth forces. Heavy armor. Big guns. Tight formation. They landed hard. Dust rose. Doors opened. A tall man stepped out. Graying hair. Eyes like steel. General Rourke. The same man who sent Ethan to the scrap zones years ago. He didn't smile. "Been watching your little show," Rourke said. "Alien bonding. Fireworks. Now you're glowing like a damn power core." He stepped closer. "And we have questions." Ethan stood between him and Zavala. "She's not your enemy." Rourke glanced at her, then back at him. "You think this is about her? You're the one we want." He tossed a file to the ground. Inside, scans, DNA reports, brain maps. Everything the beacon had revealed. "You're not fully human," Rourke said. "And that means you're a risk. Or maybe, an opportunity." Zavala stepped forward. Bleeding but proud. "You can't have him." Rourke raised his hand. His soldiers pointed guns at her head. Ethan stepped between them. "Enough." He looked at both of them. A war queen. And a human general. Both ready to pull him in opposite directions. Then Rourke said, "There's a council vote tomorrow. Some want to lock you up. Others want to study you. But there's one option left." He stepped closer. "We let you represent Earth in a new alliance." Ethan blinked. "Me? Represent Earth?" Rourke nodded. "They'll listen to you now. Because that alien tech picked you. But if you do this, you stay bonded. You stay watched. You stop being one of us." Ethan's jaw tightened. "And if I say no?" Rourke's voice turned cold. "Then we take the girl. And we take the beacon out of you, alive or dead." Silence again. Zavala didn't speak. She looked at him. Not begging. Just waiting. Ethan turned his back on both of them. Faced the hills. Closed his eyes. He thought of the scrap zones. Of hunger. Of heat. Of silence. He thought of her, kneeling in armor. Smiling through blood. Asking to be chosen back. He thought of war. And what comes after. Then, he made his choice. He turned around. Looked Rourke in the eye. And said, "I'll stand before your council. But not for you. Not for Earth. Not for them." He stepped beside Zavala. "I stand for us. Rourke studied him for a long second, then nodded once. You speak for humanity now. Better not mess it up. The soldiers lowered their weapons. The air calmed. The choice was made. And nothing would be the same again. That night, they sat under a roof of stars. Quiet. Exhausted. Alive. You surprised me, Zavala said. You surprised me first, he replied. She touched his arm. Tomorrow changes everything. He nodded. But tonight? He looked at her. Really looked. Tonight, he said softly, we don't have to be warriors. And for the first time since this all began, they rested. Together. The council chamber floated in space. A living ship, not built, but grown, wrapped in glowing roots and crystal glass. Inside, there was no gravity, no floor, no sky. Only light. And judgment. Ethan stood in the center, wearing a clean jacket. No armor. No weapons. Just himself. Beside him stood Zavala. Her wounds were healing. Her eyes were calm. But she didn't smile. Not today. Across from them hovered the council. 12 alien elders. And one human representative, General Rourke. They watched silently. Then the voice came. You are the first bonded human in our bloodline's history. You stand here not as a subject, but as a test. Ethan didn't flinch. He'd faced worse than floating aliens in suits of light. Earth wants peace, he said. You want survival. But I didn't choose this. The beacon did. So now, you need to decide, does that mean anything? A pause. Then one elder asked, would you betray your kind for her? He looked at Zavala. Then back. No, he said. But I would protect her, even from them. Another voice asked, would you give your life, for both our futures? He smiled dry. I already almost did. Twice. Rourke stepped forward. His tone sharp, but steady. Ethan is not trained for diplomacy. He's not educated in alien law. He's not chosen by any Earth government. He is an accident. Ethan shrugged. Maybe. But if an accident can survive your trials, stop a killer, and bring two sides together, maybe you need fewer perfect leaders. A murmur moved through the chamber. The crystal walls pulsed with color. The ship was listening too. Then the final question came. From the high voice, a tall figure wrapped in energy. The last trial is choice. The beacon remains active. It links your life to hers. You may sever the bond now and walk free. Or accept the full connection and never return to the human life you knew. Ethan's heart thudded. This was it. No tricks. No illusions. Just one truth. He looked at Zavala. She didn't speak. Didn't move. She would not beg. This choice had to be his. He took a breath and walked toward her. The beacon in his chest glowed once more, faint, warm, alive. He reached out, took her hand. No more tests, he said. No more trials. I choose her. The beacon flared, a wave of white fire that lit the chamber. The elders rose. Their robes spun with color. Then they spoke as one. Bond confirmed. Blood shared. Path rewritten. A pulse moved through the ship. And the future began. Weeks later, Ethan stood on a balcony aboard the new bridge city. Earth ships docked beside alien crafts. Languages overlapped in air and light. Peace was not perfect, but it was happening. He sipped dark tea, looked out at the stars, felt her presence behind him. Zavala leaned on the railing beside him. No crown, no armor, just a woman, with fire in her heart, and a war behind her. You don't miss Earth? She asked. He smiled. I am Earth. She laughed softly. And I'm the girl who came to steal it. He looked at her. Why did you really want me? She leaned close. Because you were the only one who never tried to own me. They stood in silence. Not enemies, not soldiers, but something better. Two species had almost destroyed each other. But somehow, A broken boy from a scrap pile. And a war princess from the stars. Saved them both. End of story.